let's order the operations in these expressions with fractions. That's one we haven't done much, if at all, before. I am ready to do numbers 3, 4, and 7 right now. I've got them written on my paper beside it. I went ahead and wrote it there because there is going to need to be work done. There are going to be steps that need to be taken, an order that needs to be followed, and you don't have room on the paper. So you will need to get some notebook paper, or in my case, grid paper, whichever you prefer, and neatly organize that so that you can do your work on here. Remember, I need to see your work so that I can grade it and see how you're doing. So make sure that you do it neatly for me and that you hand it in. I copied this directly off of the paper, so I haven't done any steps yet. What I noticed first, I was just about to expand this out and write it in expanded form, but then I realized, well, this isn't just any fraction, this is a convertible fraction. I can make this whole thing easier by converting it to 3 wholes. Look at that. That's the benefit of reducing and converting whenever you can possible. You could have reduced it and, you know, it ultimately would have been 3/1, which still is 3. So one more example of how reducing fractions makes things much easier. So I'm just going to make that 3 squared because that's all it is. So let me rewrite this, having done that division. 9 divided by 3 squared times 7. Now I'll do the exponent. 9 divided by 9 times 7. Oh, this is easy. The first thing I do, since division and multiplication are equal in importance, I'll go left to right. 9 divided by 9 is 1 times 7. The value of the expression in number 3 is 7. I'm going to write that up here. Now let me go on to number 4. This time I do actually have to write that out. That's going to be 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5. So let me go ahead and do this step. Inside the parentheses I have 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5. When I multiply that out, I get 125 times 5 is 125. I get 1 over 125. This was my little showing my work. Let me go ahead and now I'm going to rewrite this, having simplified that. I now have 100 times 1/125th, wow, plus 9 times 6. I have 2 different multiplication operations. I'll go left to right, so I'll do this one first. 100 times 1/125th. So I'll just go through the process of writing it out. There's an easier way to think about it, but for now I want to show you, multiplying these out would be 100 over 1 times 1 over 125. That equals 100. You know what? Actually, I'm going to reduce. I just realized I can cross-reduce first. 25 goes into both of those. 25. I love 25. That's $1, so there are 4 quarters in $1. 25 goes into 100 4 times. 25 goes into 125 5 times. Ha, that made it so much easier. So when I multiply it across, I end up with 4/5. So this is my little step. All right, so I wrote it the first time. I wrote a more simplified version. Now I'm going to write the next simplified version. So I now know that 100 times 1 over 125th is 4/5. Oh, that's such an easier number than those big things. So I have 4/5 plus 9 times 6. I do multiplication first. 9 times 6 is 45. I'm going to come to I'm going to come over here and write out the next step. All right, so I have this. I'm going to write my next step up here. 4/5 plus 54. 4/5 plus 54. Now, I have a whole number and I have a fraction, and I'm putting them together. So imagine you have 54 cookies in a box, and then at the bottom you have one that's broken, and you only have 4/5 of a cookie. If someone asks you how many cookies do you have, you're going to add that to that. You end up with 54 whole cookies and 4/5, so 54 and 4/5. The value of number 4 is 54 and 4/5. 54 and 4/5. On to number 7. We have 2 different times where we have to multiply since we go left to right. We will start with this one. 4 times 2 is 8. So we have 8 plus 1/3 times 9. Oh, this one's an easy one. The next thing that we'll do is our multiplication. 1/3 times 9. I'll come over here and write that. 1/3 times 9/1. Haha, I can cross reduce. 3 goes into 3, 1. It goes into 9 3 times. That leaves me with 3/1, or 3. Back to my work. 8 plus 1/3 times 9. This right here, the value of 1/3 times 9 is 3. So now I will write my next step, 8 plus 3, which equals 5. Kidding. 11. I make enough mistakes that was actually very believable. I better be careful on that. Okay, now on to the other side. We're doing numbers 8 and 10 on this side, and I've got them already written down on my paper. I copied number 8 exactly as it is. Notice we have all addition and subtraction. Since addition and subtraction are on the same level in the order of operations, we just go straight left to right. So we don't have to worry about the fractions quite yet. The first thing we see is 8 minus 2. We'll do that one first. 8 minus 2 is 6. We have 6 minus 6 halves plus 8 plus 8/4. Now we've got subtraction and addition, so we're still going left to right. 6 minus 6 halves. Well then, so I'm going to come over here and write it out. I'm going to convert 6 halves into a mixed number. It'll be easier to work with. Wait a minute. I don't have to do any of that. Ha! I just need to reduce my fraction and convert it, and all will be well. Easy, easy. 6 halves, well, that's 3. 8/4, well, that's 2. How did I not notice that? I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this now with my simplified fractions. Ha! They were trying to make us do a lot of work, but we found a way out of it. There are times when you have to do a lot of work, and there are times when there are easy ways out that are very appropriate. And these are easy ways out that are appropriate. We're more likely to get the answer right too when we make things as simple as this. Wait. 6 minus 3 plus 2. Oh. Now watch people get this wrong. This is so easy, and watch people get this wrong. They look at that, and the first thing they see is 3 plus 2, and they want to add 3 plus 2. Remember, you've got to go left to right. Make sure. Don't get to the easy stuff and make a mistake. 6 minus 3 is 3, plus 2, 5. The answer to number 8 is 5, or I could say the value. On to number 10, the last one we'll do together. I just realized because now I'm on to this page, I just realized that I don't have to do any hard work. Not really, not that it's hard, but this is so simple. All I have to do is reduce and convert it to 6. You just simplify the fraction, and then you have no fraction. Well, so much for working with fractions on this. We didn't get to do much work with them. So we'll need to find something else that has better work so we can really incorporate all that fraction work we've been doing. But, you know, this kind of is doing that too, right? I've been teaching you how to make them, how to simplify fractions. So we have 6 divided by 6 times 3 minus 10. Division and multiplication come first, and because they're on the same level, we go left to right. So we do this first. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times 3 minus 10. Obviously, 1 times 3 first. 3 minus 10. We can't do that. Oh, wait. We have negatives. Thank goodness for negative numbers. -7. When you go back and do the rest of the work, I've noticed that most, not all, but most of these fractions can be simplified into whole numbers. Anytime you can do that, take advantage of it. I see 2 of them that can't, but the others can.